let's see where we're at. January 4th. I always forget. So happy January 4th. We have our feet firmly planted in the new year. Congratulations to all of us. And I just wanted to come on today and talk about, really a phase of the awakening journey. And it's going to be around endings. Because welcome to the healing journey endings. That's like number one. So endings, and then we have the grief around the endings, and then we have, let me see, what's the third one? Well, yeah, the new energy that wants to come in once you heal. So this was kind of an impromptu topic today, just because Spirit put it on my plate, and this is what we're going to talk about. So first of all, before we begin, it's important to set the intention, to be really clear about the space that we're sharing here. So I'm just going to take a moment, and this is, I'm also doing this as an example for those who are watching, so they can perhaps pick up some of these tools and use them in your day-to-day life. So for me, I have a feather. This feather just kind of appeared for me, and so this is what I use, and I'm just going to clear, bathe, bless, purify, harmonize, and divinitize this communication, this video, this platform, all who are listening, the space I'm in, just in a figure eight, an infinity symbol, harmonizing all that is, as we move into this 0 point quantum field of communication. All right. And taking a moment to connect in. So I share a lot of things in these videos. You can listen with the mind, but I encourage you to listen with your heart. This is the next level of intelligence and communication. The heart center is actually the one that processes more data for the body than actually the brain. I think it's the heart actually sends more information to the brain than the brain actually outputs itself. So we have a really cutting edge technology center here that's been undervalued, underestimated, that's been coming online probably in the past 5 to 8 years, but it's individual for each person in their journey. So let's do this. Rub your hands together. Clear the space you're in with a couple claps. Bring them to your heart. Breathe in. Welcome in your light. Welcome in openness and receptivity, curiosity. Build it up here. Exhale. Send it out through your feet. And as you send that breath out your feet, let all the other shit go. Let all the other stuff go. Inhale into your heart. Build up in here your connection with yourself, calling in your highest light. Even if your brain doesn't understand what that means, just set the intention. Feel the pulse, the beating of your heart. Exhale. Send it down beneath your feet. Not only are we connecting into this new earth grid that I've talked about several times, but we're also in that process of releasing and updating the grounding underneath us so it can recalibrate and continue to support us. Inhaling into your heart, draining the brain, draining this into the heart. Let this be the ultimate processor right now for this, what we're doing. Collecting it all, magnetizing it. Exhale, sending it down. And let's just do a big old clearing for all the holidays, all the gatherings. I'm going to look around the field, your field, and just ask that anything that is not you, that no longer serves you, from the people, the places, the things that you've been in and around, let's just unplug them. You can choose to just unplug that outlet cord from your socket. So go ahead and unplug. Yeah, and I'm feeling a little tingly, so I think there's definitely some stuff happening. And this is also for people who are watching this video at a future time. Unplugging. Okay. And so I also want to flip it around and say, all right, feel into your intuitive sense and unplug yourself, receive your energy back from any other people, places, things that you've been around. So we're doing kind of a neutral separation, but we're using the visual of plugs. Calling your energy back in, clear, bathed, blessed, purified, harmonized, and divinitized, highest light. And again, yeah, and I'm feeling again another kind of a lot of charge here and heat coming down my body. So we're just draining here. And I do this to set us up for success as we have the conversation. So your vessel is as clear as possible to receive the information that's going to come in for you in highest service for this now. Breathing in. Powerful breath here. Exhale. Send it down. And I just want to reinforce your energy field, your auric field here. So it's almost like your auric field is almost an emanation of your electromagnetic field. And sometimes when our charge gets a little low, if we're not grounded, if we're carrying a lot of stuff, if we're around draining situations or people, the field can get a little holy or weakened, essentially, and that can show up in a multitude of ways, but it gets weakened. And so we're just calling in for a recharging of your energy centers, your physical body. Oh, and we just have a big release from the heart space here. I want to get to the conversation, but this needs to happen first. Because I'm still feeling it's almost like my teeth want to chatter. So that to me indicates that there's a detoxing happening. And I feel it also in my second chakra, which is around the belly button, and the third. So I'm just going to hold space and witness. And I just, so much gratitude for being able to witness, be a part of your journey, and be a support. And we're also working with some stuff behind the right shoulder blade. My pits are getting a little wet. Okay. And discharging a lot from the wiring, the nervous system, and the right side of the arm, the right side of the body, especially around here. And any other energies that are kind of hovering back here. Okay, and I'm just going to ask that there be a drain straight down the spine, through the tailbone, into the earth. Just releasing and ending any, neutrally separating, ending any contracts that are not serving. Because the last group healing we did a couple days ago, there was actually ending there. The group gathered and transmuted some black magic, which I mean, I've definitely seen that before, but we had done a lot in the latter year part of last year, and I hadn't seen that recently, in the past couple months, and we did it again. So I'm kind of feeling a little bit of that, and these are just the death cries of the endings. So, okay, I'm just going to continue to hold space for this, whatever is in your highest alignment. Yeah, okay. Let me pull a card really quickly. I'm just going to ask that your team, your I Am team, continue to support you as you realign and recalibrate into this now and plug back in, because I just see a few little space cadets kind of, here's the earth, and just floating up. I'm just going to ask that you gently, with ease and grace, be magnetized back to Mother Earth, to be supported, nurtured, Yeah, supported and nurtured. Stabilized. In your physicality, in your emotional being, in your mental experience and expression, and may your spiritual nature blossom open as these other baser layers begin to stabilize and strengthen. Okay. So, just asking for a theme for this healing or for this gathering for this video today. Okay. Whew. All right. Very talkative today. Huh. Alignment. Okay. So that's appropriate. Let me read you a couple words about alignment. Inner integrity. Being a vibrational match for what you want to bring into your life. Manifesting from a place of love over fear. From a place of love over fear. Energy flows where attention goes. Subconscious sabotage. Seamlessly actualizing our dreams. Okay, so as I always say, take what resonates, release the rest. I like this card. I mean, it's in divine perfect showing up, so it's appropriate for what we're going to be talking about today. So because endings are about aligning. So endings are when your spirit, your soul self, is hitting a point in its evolutionary cycle and expression. And it has, it's ready to move to the next level, the next layer. So it translates down, though, as death and destruction in our 3D experience. That's why people talk about kind of operating or meditating into fourth dimensional, fifth dimensional, all the way to 12th, a millionth dimensional, whatever, consciousness to begin to connect in, because then you get the greater perspective. It's like the eagle eye view, appreciating what is actually ending and what the true opportunity is. But until we get to that point, we've got to begin to train ourselves and recalibrate the ending experience. So just be with me here. You can rewatch this video. The ending experience, when we feel that, when we feel the pains and the nips of death, when we feel the uncomfortability of our truths coming to the surface, when we feel the sorrow, the feeling of being of loss beginning to rise, the training here, the growth is for us to begin to train ourselves that this is an opportunity. So instead of going back into the story, because we've all been conditioned, if something sad happens or something comes up in our bodies, especially us feelers, us emotional, sensitive, intuitively gifted, perhaps, individuals, we've been taught that it's something about us, perhaps, or that we take it on and we need to go inside and really look at ourselves and see what's wrong. And sure, there is something to be said about going inward and recalibrating, but in this particular case, the sense of the ending is about you reviewing and then releasing that old storyline. So let me jump back. Are you with me? Can I get like a thumbs up or something if you're confused? I can clarify. If not, it's okay. I just want to make sure everyone's kind of on board with me here. So we have the endings. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. So now we're going to move from the endings and it coming to the surface, and it's going to feel like the wrong thing is coming back again. How many times have I dealt with this wrong thing? Well, the evolutionary cycle is never ending. And that was a tough one for me to swallow many years ago when I was in my kind of the intimate parts of my awakening journey. And it was so like in my face. And I had the epiphany, the realization. I read something, I don't remember, but it was like, this shit never ends. And it kind of, I had a kind of a come to Jesus with myself, and I said, okay, so I got to get right with myself then. If the journey isn't going to end, then that something has to shift within me. And this is kind of a side tangent, but it's just kind of a side note on them that I'm making here. The process of creation is like the waves, and if we get too attached to the sandcastles we build on the shore, it's going to be a pretty painful journey. But if we can create and experience without attachment to the creation or destruction of whatever we are experiencing, it will lead us into a much more free-flowing experience of the continuum of the ultimate reality, if that makes sense. This is kind of bigger stuff that's coming through, and I hope your heart hears and feels this. And yeah, and I see it. It's actually going through. You're like, this is meant to activate DNA here, this conversation. This is like ding, 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 ding. It's just going down your body. So breathe this in. Okay, so we have and I'm going to give an example here at the end of my own personal a process here that I went through, so you can kind of tie this in or anchor this into apply it to your life. And once you get to the ending, then you have the grief process. And there's the mourning. And it's just, there's a mourning of the 3D thing, right? That is going. Relationship, car, plant, whatever it is. I'm just naming some stuff. There's the mourning of that. But then there's the mourning of what I'm going to call the ego, the identity's attachment to that thing. And so we go through that process and grieving and mourning the loss or the perceived loss of whatever that is. And on the coattails of that, what happens is, as the stuff is going, if we're open to it, if we're receptive, the new is already coming in. So we have that death and destruction, blah, blah, things falling apart. You can see it in the world. Just, take a look at for 15 seconds of the news, But then if we're open and receptive, then the new is just kind of beginning, flowing in and coming in to fill in the cracks in the spaces that are formed from the destruction. And that's what we really want to tap into. And that's why we use the breath to bring it into the body. That is the best way to anchor the etheric realms, using the power of your mind and intention, the openness of your heart. You breathe in intention, certain words, feelings, sensations, colors. You breathe that into your body so it actually fills in the cells. It activates this higher consciousness in your being through your DNA. And then you exhale what no longer serves, but it helps to anchor these higher levels of thinking into your physical tissues, so then you can begin to move forward from this new data you have downloaded. So the breath is your downloading agent, and you anchor that information into the core of the earth, who reciprocates and sends that information back up to you. And that's why in some of my meditations I talk about going down and synchronizing with the heartbeat of Mother Earth, finding your crystal in the earth, so use it as a USB port that you update, and then she sends her information back up to you. Okay, so let me look at one more thing. Okay, so this is why intentions are so important in this process, because if we don't have intention as we're going through our cycle, like the intention to make the most of the situation, or that there's something, an opportunity coming through, the ending cycle can be very destructive, especially like psychologically, mentally. Of course, it can be physically as well. So we set the intention on what we want to create, knowing that there is going to be a leaving of what no longer serves. More than likely, depending on where you are in your journey, there's going to be an attachment to all that stuff that leaves. And you're going to cry about it. And that's okay. Because we just got to do that. It's part of the cleansing of our cellular structure so we can move on to the next light show that is coming in to light up our bodies. Okay. Yes, another note I made. So when you feel the ending coming, lean into it. Lean into it. And so this is a kind of a visceral picture here, but it has, and I'm not one that likes these images, but it's been very helpful during the darker times of my journey. So imagine a wild animal's been caught by let's say a lion, and it bites. The animal leans into the bite, so the flesh doesn't get torn away. Sorry for the visceral image here, but our journey is visceral like that. When death is biting at you, when change is biting at you, when something wants to transmute, it is a gift from creation. It is here to serve us. But at the same time, the package that it comes in can be violent. It can be painful. And it could, if that was part of our journey, it could destroy us. On a 3D level. On a consciousness level, no. We're just part of the journey. But leaning in to what hurts and surrendering to that process and being open to receive the blessings, the gift, the vision, the opportunities, the knowing, the release, the relief, that is going to be, that will serve you well on your journey. Okay. Okay, so I also want to talk about especially for those who have just begun to kind of arise from their slumber. Initially, this process of ending, grief, and then the new, it can be, I'm just using this word a lot. I guess it's a real conversation. It can be a shitstorm. And it can be confusing, and it can feel like Wizard of Oz times 10, so many tornadoes, and you got a hurricane happening, and probably there's an earthquake and some fires. I mean, really, it's just like 2020 in our own reality. And it can be so real, especially when you're first starting out. That's when to get support. You need objective perspective. You need energetic or support or guidance along that part of your especially along that part of your journey. I'm not saying you don't need it the whole time, or we need each other throughout our whole experience here. But especially at the beginning, because to piecemeal through it, there's just no need. Especially now, there's enough of us, light workers, who have gone through that journey by ourselves. We're here to support you. So, whoever it is, get yourself support. It does not have to be long, strung out, and painful, unless that's really just what your soul wants. It can be rejuvenating, illuminating, insightful. It can bring joy. You can have these pockets of joy despite these harsh realities of things leaving, things passing away in your reality. Okay? So, and I suggest, what do I suggest? Group healings are good for that. Individual one-on-one work, meditations to start out with. But I think it's helpful for finding someone that you trust, that you feel kind of a resonance with, and connecting with them. And more than likely, you'll have several people along your way, again, depending on your soul contracts, that you will sync up with, who will help you along the craggy rocks and the slippery hills of your journey. Okay, so let me get to my parts, what I experienced on 12/21. Okay, so 12/21 was a big day. It's the solstice, and reality, the veils of reality opening up, and I had been deep into this kind of cave time of my journey. of the winter season. That's just what I was called to do. And 12:21, I wake up and I'm like, okay, whatever needs to come forward, I'm ready. I'm open. And I felt so sad. And it got worse throughout the day. And I felt disconnected and deep loneliness. And I'm sharing this because I just want you to know you're not alone in whatever's, you're going through. But all my most painful stuff came up. And the biggest piece that I think I can tap into is like a sense of unworthiness. And it wasn't just this lifetime, it was just beyond, like just as a being, and like, what am I doing here, etc., etc. And I'm not sharing this because it's like, I feel the power of it, but I feel the power of what I'm transmuting in this moment and how important it is that I'm kind of bearing myself open here for each of you to witness and feel for yourself. So there's some kind of transmutation here happening, not only for me, but us as a group witnessing this process, and just to know, that just to use this for your own journey. Use this as a tool. So anyway, I was feeling really sad. Got to dinner time, like my throat was closed up. I couldn't speak. And I was going kind of straight down. And I laid on a chair and listened to some music, and all of a sudden these tears started coming up. And I was having these visions of when I was by the river meditating for several years, for like 4-8 hours at a time. And the visions of actually what was happening. So I was alone. It was a really dark, hard time on my journey. And I was sitting by the river because that's where I was called. And I just saw the heavens open up in my mind's eye in this vision. And what was really happening, I was surrounded in this heavenly support. You can call them guides, angels, whatever you want to call it. And there was a purpose, and I was being worked with, and completely supported. It was almost, this golden white light above me. And I never saw that. I had some interesting experiences in those meditative states, but I never had connection with what was going on. My mind I wasn't open enough at that point. My capacity wasn't there. But this whole time that I've been on my journey, I have been supported like that, and I just haven't been able to see it until that day. And that day was a marker for ending a deeper cycle that I had. And it wasn't completely it's not completely gone forever, but what it is I've spiraled up on my experience pathway, and I have more perspective, and I was just at a higher perspective. And that experience lasted, the experience of feeling disconnected and alone lasted probably for an unworthy lasted 10 hours maybe. And then the revelation came, the grief and the healing and the recognition of how supported I have been the whole time. And so my initial journey healing from something probably took 4 years, and being just deep in it, to now moving through some really painful, for me, things about just the fiber of my being in less than 10 hours. And so that is available for all of us. And it's just the work that we commit to doing and the intentions we set and our levels of receptivity to be supported. And I just also want to share with you in this story and opening up that each of you is supported in the same way. We all have this type of support available to us. It's just, do we listen to the call and do we follow through? Our team wants to support us, and we just, the ask is to step forward and follow through with those intuitive impulses. And they're asking me not to let the lesser than storylines stop you from being the light that you are. And so each day is a deep breath, getting familiar with the lesser than storylines and loving it into a state of being transmuted. So know the lesser than storyline, breathe into it, and take a step forward into something different, despite the feeling sense or the storyline that is kind of hovering its hot breath over you all the time. So yeah, I hear you. I know you're there. I choose and I intend something different. And the reason I keep talking about the intention and choosing something different over and over and over and over, because the availability for us to create something different, and the avenues, the pathways, the highways are there now. They weren't there years ago. And then there's people who've, forged the path decades ago. That shit wasn't there. It's here now. So take advantage. I've watched people who woke up in February and are already doing healing because they're building upon what the previous generations have laid out. So that is available for all of us. Of course, in highest alignments with your truth, whatever is for you on your soul path. Okay. So I've said a lot of words. How are you guys feeling? Do you have any questions? Anything you want to share? And thank you for witnessing and being with that story. And I my intention in sharing that is for it to feed a part of you. Nurture, support a part of your journey. And to let you know I've been there. I'm gonna still go there. All right. Yay. Yes, hearts back to all of you. Thank you for being here. It's been really, this has been a special one today. If you have any questions, feel free to send me a direct message. Just know that I'm also doing group healings on Saturdays with Melanie at Collaborative Healing, and we offer tremendous space. By having two healers there, the healing is multiplied. She does a wonderful grounding at the beginning, gets you in your body, safe, secure, snuggly, comfortable, and then I walk in and I bring in the kind of the next level of information, the downloads, the data to support you in the evolutionary leap of your journey. We work really well together, and it's all in highest light and service for your journey. If you're feeling like you need something one-on-one, I do offer an introductory session one-on-one where we begin our journey, and that's about an hour and a half immersion. And light, okay, so lovely, thank you. Light flows where attention goes. Yes, exactly. And so we are such powerful conductors of light, and we've kind of been greased up or covered up, and we're in this process of uncovering the light bulbs that we are. And we need to be discerning about how we direct that light, because this is our kind of sacred responsibility. If you're listening to this, this is a sacred responsibility. You are the, what's the word? Transducer, conductor. You are the channel of light. You signed up to be a channel of light for spirit, and as a representative for humanity, to show them what's possible and to help them on their next step. And it's going to show up for you however it needs to, but this is part of your soul contract. So it's nice to see you here. And okay, so going back to sessions, also I want to mention this is kind of a exciting big deal thing for me. I'm going to be offering a 1-month-long group mentorship experience. This is the first official one that I have, I'll be doing. And so I'm very much looking forward to creating space with a specific group of like magical souls who are ready to activate these ancient sites, these ancient technologies in their body, and to emanate more light. So that will be there probably in the next month or so. I'll be making some more announcements. If you're interested, you want to know more information, again, feel free to send me a message. Okay, so if no one has anything else, just thank you so much for your time and your presence and your beautiful light. It's so special to, I look forward to these. I normally hate to be on camera, but I look forward to the connection with the community here. So thank you for being you, and I look forward to connecting with you next time. Be well.